Hey, what is going on, everybody? We should be live now. Welcome to this stream where we are going to have Gary Simon review your portfolio websites, any projects you have, and we're going to be judging these projects. And the winner of these projects is going to have, or any design here is going to win $100. Now, one thing Gary is offering here is also a free copy of his course to the worst design in this competition. So we're going to change things up a little bit here. Gary is pretty brutal here. He does a lot of design reviews on his channel. It's really fun to watch. Gives good critiques, so it's going to be fun here. So Gary, if we want to get started, I want to start with your course before we get into these designs and before we tell people where to submit them. Really quick, by the way, just send them to contact@dennisivy.com. We already have a bunch of designs in there, but if you still want to submit them, send them there. So yeah, Gary, how's that new course going? And tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, excited. It's made me just filthy rich, and that's what it's all about. And yeah, very excited because it's done a lot better than I thought it would. We have probably close to 1,400 members already. And it's just based, if you want to share my screen, based on, it's at designcourse.com, of course. And it's just a way to learn UI, UX design in an interactive setting. So this is a custom platform we built from scratch. There's over 16 hours of videos. There's interactive UI tests, as I call them. You can actually play some of them by clicking play now. You don't even need an account for those. And then also mentorship, where I review your designs. And even better than what this stream is going to be, where I just I'm verbally telling you what to do. Mentorship, actually, you submit a Figma prototype, and then I actually take a look at it, and if it needs revisions, I'll do those revisions as well. And then you'll receive that as well, and you'll check out, what is it, that I'm doing wrong. So definitely check this out. There's a coupon code launch that you can apply at the checkout for $15 off. So yeah, that's enough spam for me, and we can go ahead and get rocking here to the reviews.
Yeah, really awesome. I'm absolutely loving that website. I love what happened the other day where you sent that to everybody in your Discord or something like that. And apparently, so one of the reviews on this site, there's a thumbnail with me in it. And Gary sent this out.
It's this one right there. It's just that tiny little review or little picture. And because me and my developer did not update the meta OG tags or whatever, whenever somebody links designcourse.com, like on Facebook Messenger, which was my case, it's just a big picture of Dennis like plastered for the thumbnail preview. We still haven't updated it.
That cracked me up. So people are still seeing my face out there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Here, let me just bring in your channel for anybody that doesn't know Gary. I'm just going to go ahead and call you one of the top designers in the world. I mean, I know it's because you have a social platform, but I mean, you're by far the biggest design teacher, at least that I know, and you just do amazing stuff. So anybody that needs help and looking through some of these portfolio projects, I'm going to take a page out of Gary's book and say a lot of them need some work. That's probably as much critique as you're going to get from me, is say that some of the designs are not that good. Yeah, so definitely make sure you're subscribed to Gary if you're not already. I love your streams where you're just going into it. I'm assuming you just kind of make that your style, where you're very brash. You're like the Simon Cowell of design.
Well, what's funny is it's not intentional. I'm not that mean though. I'm not. I'm honest though. That's it. Like if something looks bad, I'm gonna help you fix it.
I just figured that was a John Frock kicking in.
Yeah, good old Frock. All right. I guess the way we could do this, I'll just share it on my screen, and then you can just
sure
my screen for me.
Yeah, sure. Let's go at it. So I'm actually trying to think of this. I might throw in another $100. So let's do this. Let's do the best design and then the best project. So design, you're going to judge that. I'll pick the best project. We'll slowly take notes. And anybody that has a project maybe that doesn't look that good, but it's just really cool, I'll kind of judge it from that perspective, because you're dealing with a lot of back-end developers here. So I want to make sure they get some love here too. Okay. So let's do this.
So I'm gonna have a notepad document where I will just note the really best looking designs, and then also some of the worst ones. And at the end, we'll pick one, and they'll get a free copy of free access at designcourse.com.
Are we gonna announce the worst design publicly, or are we gonna?
No, we're gonna announce it at the end.
Cool.
So here's the thing, just for everybody watching, I have not looked at any of these designs yet. We're gonna do this on the fly.
Yeah, there was a few that might open up slow because I'm assuming they're like on a free tier on Heroku or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, they might take a second. So if anything, we can like skip through it and then just go back.
Let's do the very first one. All right. So this is actually in German. So I have it's translating automatically for me. So we'll have to consider that. I'll probably zoom up the browser a little bit just so everybody can see what's happening here. So how do you want to do this first? I mean, you want to give some comments. Do you want to go first?
You know what I want to hear from you is I want to
Okay.
see your process in this review. Like I've seen you pull up some pretty sweet looking portfolio sites or just websites in general where I would have given it a perfect A, and then I'll just see you slaughter it because you notice like some margins not there
All
or
right.
some shade and the colors are a little bit off. So yeah, I kind of want to hear that process.
Okay.
And as you're doing it, like explain why maybe you're critiquing something. Like when I'm
Okay.
looking at this, I'm seeing a very simplistic site. I wouldn't say it's anything special,
Right.
but what are the
Okay.
reasons and why you grade it? But yeah, you can just go at it and I'll just add some comments. But yeah, you don't want to take design advice from me.
All right. Right. Okay. So first of all, this must be some sort of like embedded Google bar up the top, which is interesting. I guess that it provides automatic translation or something like that. But after that, having said that, the one thing I noticed is kind of an issue is the lack of white space between each of these elements right here, these nav items. And also there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now they say don't go more than 7 nav items in your primary navigation, but something called visual hierarchy. I talk about it a lot. It just looks like too many links, but you do have some type, you could have a secondary navigation, so to speak, or at least style these last two, your blog and contact, differently from your primary navigation right here. And that will help break up how monotonous and redundant it looks. And also I would spread them out a little bit more, which is white space is the empty space between the elements. So in CSS, that's either achieved through padding or margin. So I would just kind of space them out more. Also, well, I would say this is capitalized and the rest aren't, but I understand this is automatic translation. So that's that for the navigation. I would probably scale down the size of the logo a little bit. It is quite large. And then your hero section right here, which is, professional data recovery from, I'm not sure if that's an accurate translation. It probably is. So at least I do understand exactly what's happening here. And of course it's very simplistic. It's a little just bland. However, you're informing the visitors kind of what is happening here. Traditionally, this kind of seems like this section was made for mobile by default, just because everything's stacked on top of each other and you don't have columns. And in other words, you're not really most effectively utilizing the white or the amount of space, the width that you have on a full desktop. So restructuring this, into a responsive design where you could probably get an illustration or some other imagery that might be relevant to this business, it would make sense, at least maybe like in a 2-column approach, because you do have the space. Coming down here, looking at the rest of it, on desktop like this, it's nice to have more white space separating your sections. This right here, although it's not extremely close, it's not touching the edge of this section, it's nice to spread those out, these sections, a little bit more, and it helps the readability and it reduces the clutter. So I would add padding on the inside of this white container at the top and the bottom, probably increasing it by about 3 to 4 times of the amount of white space that you currently have. And it's just going to make the design flow and look much better and less cluttered. So I'm not going to go through every single detail here because we have a lot of submissions. But that's just the general thought here. This order form, this form itself is spread way too far out. You want to condense that, a little bit more so, because just having really long form elements is not something you really want to have. And it also just doesn't look that good either when you're spread out that far.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that I can't get into. You went into spacing and all of that. I love your breakdown of it. So outside of maybe breaking some rules or following some rules, let's just give this a ranking out of 5. Let's just go quick with that.
Out of 5? Okay, so there's a lot of positive things happening here. Contrast is excellent because there's UI design fundamentals, and contrast is one of them. I'll probably give this, I'm used to doing out of 10.
Let's do it at 10.
It gets, yeah. So I'm going to do it at 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I'm going to give this one for what it is a 6.2.
Cool, 6.2. Yeah, it doesn't stand out to me. Nothing sexy about it. If it followed some rules, I guess you kind of have to judge it on what it looks like and then the rules that it followed. Cool. Let's jump to the next one. Yeah, and we don't have to how you do it on your streams. Just pick out a few things and let's just break it down so that way we can get to all of them.
Here's the next one: era-coding.com.
And I'm adding a few, by the way. People are sending them in, so
all right,
we'll see what we can get to.
This is the problem here. So notice they obviously didn't factor in like a 4K maximized browser because this is falling off. Let me just double click this in, and this is probably what they intended it to look like, which is, maybe it's still a work in progress. I notice looking at the responsive nature. All right, that's looking pretty good. I really like this approach right here. Notice the amount of white space right here when we're at this breakpoint. It looks pretty solid. However, your contact us button should be right aligned over here because you have a column that's established by this little like a country selector thing over there. And you want your columns, especially in the very left and right of your design, to be well defined. And that's all about alignment right there. So take that contact us, put it right there. However, when I scale this up just a little bit, notice how big these become. And there's a lot more less white space that shows up. I would probably stick with what you had right here. Notice how much better that looks. When you have white space, it just makes things just aesthetically more pleasing and also easier to use. Outside of that, make your vision a reality. All right. So we provide various software development services for you.
Yeah, I had a problem with this one. This is the one I actually saw. I didn't look at too many beforehand, but that seems very generic. I'm assuming this is like a web design, web development agency. Seems very generic. Like what does software development services mean?
Headline ad copy. It's important not to say like I am a software developer or something like that. You don't want to describe your features. You want to describe the benefits, or you want to, it's all about emotion for your headline. Make your vision a reality. I would say it's better than just saying I'm a software developer. However, it's also too vague. So there's a good middle. There's a balance between your headline copy between being just literal about describing what you are, and then also just being too abstract. Looking at the spacing here, I'd probably move this up a little bit, the subheadline. Take a look. I'm not sure what that means, that copy. Maybe be more explicit, say our projects. That would be a good one, like if that's what that's doing. I'm not sure where that would take us. So it's just taking us down a little bit. Looking at the rest of this, pretty good type here. I wonder what font that is. Poppins. I love Poppins. All right. So that everybody always asks, what extension did you just use? Just find it out. It's called what font? WHAT font, all one word.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. I usually just start inspecting and trying to find everything.
All right. So right here, I'm going to get out my dev tools. They're on the other monitor, so you can't see it, but we have a lack of visual hierarchy. So typographic visual hierarchy. So we have these two pieces of type. This right here is slightly larger than this, but it's still not separated enough. So one of the ways that you can increase that visual hierarchy is to take this. Let me get font weight bold. Are you not working? The font weight bold is not working, apparently. Let me just turn that off. So maybe based on the font that they're using, which is Montserrat, they didn't include a bold version in the Google Fonts import, but this should be bold. These should be bold. And then that way it really will help separate the text from each other a little bit more. All right. Put more white space above mastering NOV. I don't even know what that is, but this button's too close to it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, those cards kind of threw me off too.
So yeah, there's some things happening right here. You would simplify this area like much better just by removing this, because I don't like this being centered. This is all kind of just spread out in 4 columns equal, and then this is 2 columns starting right here and here, and then this Y us. I mean, if you're going to keep it, add more white space on the top and bottom. Separate this area out more because it's a little bit cluttered in here. But yeah, that's pretty much, these cards are pretty good. I like the icons. They're consistent icons. I know I see a lot of people mixing icons that were created like from different designers, and it just never looks good. So there's some positive things happening here. I like the footer. The footer is pretty solid as well. Yeah.
Yeah, if my rating counts for anything, I'm gonna say 7.5. Curious
Okay.
yours.
I'm gonna go with probably like a 7.1.
7.1, not too bad. Yeah, there's just a few flaws. I really don't like that space underneath that header right there. That kind of throws me off too.
Yeah. When you get down here, there is a decent amount of white space, I guess you could say. Yeah. All right. Awesome. You ready for the next one?
Cool.
All right, let's go here. I suppose we should probably check these out first, make sure we didn't get trolled or something.
Yeah. Well, I think I opened up every single one.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah,
good.
I at least opened them. I didn't really review them.
All right. So this is a portfolio, a front-end developer.
You want to zoom in a little bit? It's a little bit smaller.
Yeah. Here we go. All right. So what I do, front-end developer with 2 years of professional experience. I love to build websites from scratch. All right. So I like the little play on, the fact that this could be something like in Figma, like a bounding around text or something. So that's an interesting, a relevant way just to make your design more interesting. Hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. All right. So there's a lot of borders here. Usually there's strokes here, borders. Everything has a border around it. You could probably simplify things a little bit more outside of it, even though it's not a very high contrast border, which is a good thing. You could probably simplify things a little bit more by removing like the border around this container, but making your background maybe slightly darker. And then this panel, you keep it the same color and it would still stick out. But there are a lot of borders, especially like right here. And when it comes to borders, when you have a bunch of them, it just really, it makes the layout more complex, unnecessarily so, I would say. So of course there's some theme settings here where we can change the colors just to demonstrate your crazy skills as a front-end developer. All right. So this is a problematic area for me. This high contrast, like line separator here, 100% just needs to go. Second of all, whenever you have I actually did a whole video about this topic. I uploaded on my YouTube channel. Whenever you have a 2-column approach like this, where you have a column here, and then you have maybe another column here with a photograph or an illustration, left align or right align. Typically in this case, because it's the left column, you'd want to left align the text. Don't center the text because it just kind of flows. It throws off the flow of the design, and you lose a nice concrete sort of invisible column that's been established from home, from here, and from here. And so when you left align these things, they work a lot better. Also the typography, I'm not a huge fan of this type right here. And also, the font pairing that we have, it may be the same font actually. Let me see. We have Russo 1 and we have Roboto Mono. I would probably change this font for sure. This Russo 1, I would change it to something else. It just seems to, I don't know. To me, when I see it, it feels amateur to me.
So this one's actually this is actually the one that I did for Brad Traversi's channel. I was gonna try to see if you remembered reviewing this because you actually did it on your channel.
That's hilarious.
If you go to DennisIV.com. So this is my design skills.
I was wondering. I looked over while I was talking and you're crying. I'm like, I wonder what is happening here. All right. So I would change that font, and let me reset this back to 100% too. I mean, this is 100%. So I actually kind of like it a little better at 100%, but still, other thing I would say, more white space. Look how close things are together. Like separate this stuff out a little bit more. But yeah, this is what you designed. So I guess I'm just giving you direct feedback right now.
Ahmad, I set you up to fail here. I mean, it's not a bad site. I mean, it works.
But no. What I typically, I don't even talk about the things that are going well. I just talk about what I think could be improved. But there are a lot of things that are correct about this as well, which is there's a good contrast like the other one. I like the color scheme as well. I did give props for this little thing over here as well. So
yeah, that's something he added. I didn't. Okay, I had that line, but mine didn't move like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I sent this off to my designer. So Sharir, he's actually in the chat. He's my designer for most of my stuff, and first thing he called out was the font too. So I'm an amateur when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, cool. Let's do another one.
I mean, I
Max.
have to give that one a 10, but
Oh yeah, well, I didn't rate that one. That one doesn't count because you did it, and you're not even qualified to win anything. All right, all
Why
right.
is the picture blurred, or is that just blurry for me?
Oh,
Oh,
it
okay.
just showed up literally. I'm not sure if that was activated by my mouse hover, which would be strange.
That
No,
was
it's not.
interesting.
Okay. All right. So looking at this, this is obviously another portfolio, self-taught developer. All right. All right. So this is all it is. I can't scroll down anymore. Let's zoom up a little bit so you can all see what's happening here. So, all right, this home button is very strange because this is typically where you would see a logo or something. Now it's based on your name. I would take home, I would put it over here next to these three, but I would not be separating all these out with this amount of white space. It just makes it feel disconnected. So if you want to have these, put them like a lot closer together. You can have like 10 pixels of white space between them, and it would work much better instead of them being so outside. Although I can see semantically, these are different things because you have a toggle switch here, but then we have two social media icons. So, but they're designed the same. So that's an issue. This is quite a different element, and these two, they should be styled differently than that.
Yeah, that's
So
a
you
little bit
take
confusing.
yeah, and so and there's too much white space between these as well. So bring those together, put home there. By the way, if you're wondering, should I have a home button? Yes. A lot of people say, well, you don't need a home button because the logo goes to home. They've done research on this, and people, especially like grandmas and stuff, maybe you can get away with it in tech. They expect a home button explicitly in the navigation, and usually it's going to be your first one. So you take that home, put it over there, less white space between the elements, and then put your name as where the logo would go and make it white and bold, kind of like it is here, but obviously smaller. So that's the first thing. We also have inconsistent alignment. So notice how home's way over here. We have an invisible column, and then we have a nice, a column that's established here. So now it's like it's out of sorts. So in the context of this layout, I would take the right of this little button, get it right there along this edge, the left of this, which would be in the future the person's name, and align it there. Outside of that is obviously extremely simple. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I think the type is pretty good. I like the type. What is that? That is System UI. And it looks pretty solid for what it is. There's not too much happening wrong in terms of just UI design fundamentals.
Looks like a cover letter. Yeah, very simple.
Yeah. So for what this is, I'll probably just rate this like a 6.8.
Cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Just simple.
Right. I'm going to close this out. My email client's been like popping up messages. All right. So next one. By the way, I don't have the YouTube chat up here. So if people are asking questions,
I'll bring them up here. So so
okay.
far it's just well, you don't see it. It's in StreamYards. You should be able to click on comments on the right side, and you'll see the chat directly in StreamYards. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys have any questions for Gary, anything like that, just throw them up here. Everyone's just kind of responding.
Right. Okay. I see it now. All right. Awesome. I'll check it periodically. Let's go to the next one. This is all right. Look at that snazzy young man over there. I am Aziz. Is that how you pronounce that? Aziz? I don't know.
Looks right.
Freelance UI designer, developer in Blue Devil. What is that? Based in Durham, North Carolina. All right. Okay. So
is that a college? Maybe I'm assuming.
Oh, it might be. Okay. Well, maybe that's like his superhero or villain name or something. Anyhow, contact me. I don't like that. I've seen people do this before where it's just a contact me button. Your primary call to action, which is what it would be here, that needs to be something where, see, who wants to contact a person right away before seeing their projects? Not many people. So you could have two call to actions, a primary and a secondary, in your hero section right here. But the first primary one, I would say, should be projects, like your portfolio, or view my projects, see my, somewhere to take them to your actual work, because that's what employers or clients, potential clients, they want to see the most. They want to see what you can do, and then they'll not going to say waste their time. Then they'll bother trying to contact you. So that's kind of interesting.
That's kind of interesting because when I was doing a lot of freelancing stuff for specifically for client-based websites, I used to make that a contact button, but instead of saying contact us or something like that, I would usually make that the number right away or an email. And we
Oh, okay.
found through Google Analytics that it was one of the most clicked items besides maybe like the FAQ or services
Okay.
section. So we would put that right there. So that's kind of interesting to hear your take on it. I've
Okay.
never seen a
I
negative
guess
effect
it would
to it.
also make, I mean, contact me. Like, it makes sense, but I would say also it's worth putting, an area for them to see the projects, because they do have a projects link up here.
Yeah.
All right. So this next section, big problem. It's not utilizing this space effectively. This utilized your available space real effectively up here in the hero section, but down here we just have 2 columns that are just kind of sparse, and they're just kind of loosely just thrown on there without much thought. So I would rethink this. So you have 4 things happening here. You put them in row format, but you have all this width available for you. What I would do is ditch this layout. I build websites that are, you could probably just center that at the top, and then underneath it have 4 columns, kind of like you did down here. You have 4 columns here. And then just put responsive. You can have maybe a little icon for each of these 4 things, and then maybe also a description, like a sentence or 2 under each of these in 4 different cards. And that way you're going to better utilize the space you have available. This section right here is great. I love the colors. I love this little label. How you separated that in multiple ways. So you've established good visual hierarchy between these 3 bits of type, and the learn more button's pretty solid as well. So this just feels out of place, because this is rated at like a 9, and then this is like, a 5.2. So try to keep consistent with your execution in your various sections. We have the portfolio, pretty nice white space inside these cards.
Does the left alignment throw you off?
Yeah, it kind of does throw me off, because you have all this empty space here.
Yeah.
So it would probably make more sense, because look, he centered this card. You might as well center these as well to try to keep consistent with how you're approaching your design. Now, I would say the final thing I'll say is the text fields here, and its text area is not obvious enough. I can see it's a very slight gray. You would want to add a stroke to those,
that's
or
tough
make
to
those
see.
areas darker. So if I click on this, that's a div class.
I thought that was just because you're sharing your screen, but you're right. It's difficult to see.
Border 1px solid. Make it black for an. Oh wait, this is some type of They did something interesting here with There we go.
That's probably like a font awesome icon, right? Or is that? Oh, there we go.
Let me make it gray at first. Like even that, just gray. Now you can way clearly see the this much better. Of course, you would do it to these ones as well. Also, I wouldn't put message as a placeholder value when you already have a label saying message above it. It's just redundant. So,
yeah.
Mail, I change that to email. Email address. Be explicit. People are simple sometimes. So yeah, a rating for this. Yeah, and join in with the rating if you want to.
It'd be
people
kind
in
of cool
the
to see that in the
chat.
chat.
Yeah, because that's what I do on my stream. If you guys want to rate this, I'm not sure how much of a delay there is, though. So that might
it's 5 seconds. It's
okay.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah. One being first, 10 being the best. What do you guys think this person should get? Let's check the responsive nature of it. Coming in. All right. So he chose to get rid of the hackathons and projects, but you still have the room. Just push yourself down. You would have the room for that. You don't even have to put it in one of those hamburger menus, just because you have 2 of them. So that's always going to fit.
I see a 5 rating come in. Yeah, as far as like the colors and stuff like that, other than the contact form, I think everything looks pretty good. It's just a little bit of the alignment.
Yeah.
You use a little touch up.
For what this is, I probably give it like a 7.3 or 7.4.
Man, you're more generous than me. It's kind of funny. Everyone has a different 1 to 10 scale. For me, like 5 is like, I see 5 as like a 0. And then anything under a 5 is like a negative, where 5 is like, it's par, it just made the cut. So that's usually where I'm ranking it. Like that section where you gave that one with the 2 parts under the hero section, I would have given that like probably like a 3.5 or something like that.
Right. But overall, I see a lot of things are being applied correctly.
Yeah.
So I think, 7 is just kind of like pretty solid, and that's what most of the designs I would say that I rate are between 6 and 7s. Of course, I've had some 2s and I've had like 9.5s, but yeah.
Hey, here we go. Now the ratings are coming in. We see 7.5, 7.5, 3 in a row, 8,
yeah,
6.8.
It seems like people pretty much agree for the person that said 10, that was probably theirs.
Either that or it's a 1Q. I can't tell. Oh, no, that is a 10. Yeah, it probably is. By the way, guys, make sure you're checking out the description or the video description. There's Gary's course, designcourse.com.
You guys got to check this out.
Check out Gary's YouTube channel. Now that more people are in here, you can see how Gary teaches. It's amazing and what he sees inside. It's obviously one of the best in the world at what he does. Definitely check it out. I just want to keep throwing that in there. It's all in the video description.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you guys decide to join designcourse.com where you learn UI UX, use launch the coupon code launch and you get $15 off. All righty. Enough of that. Devfolio.io. I really like the domain. I like that a lot. All right. So create a professional grade portfolio within a few clicks. All right. So your call to action button is pretty small. Now I can zoom up here just so everybody can see what's happening. Maybe right around there. I'm not too sure I like this gray against the pink blob thing here. It would probably, if you made that background maybe not quite white, but a little bit like a couple shades lighter, I might like it a little bit more because things are starting to get a little bit bland around here because this UI you've created also has gray in it. But for the most part, this is actually pretty solid. Yeah, let's scroll down. Solid cards. Now you're getting very close for this description right here to not being what they call accessible. So you can get out your dev tools and we can click on this. Yep. And notice it says contrast under accessibility, that little pop up. It might be hard for you all to see this, but if you go to this website, devfolio.io, and do this yourself, open up the dev tools, and you hover over this, you'll see the contrast is 2.54. You want that to be 4.5 for text that is this small. You can get away with like 3.0 for larger text, but this is 2.54. So you want to make that darker, and we can quickly do that right here. So if I select it, we say color. He's using a variable for that. Let's just change that to like this.
Hey, there we go. So
now it stands out so much better.
Little thing about this one, this is actually a project that myself and my designer are working on. He wanted me to throw this in. He actually hit you up on Twitter trying to get a review on it. So you have to take those lessons. Let's fix this up. Yeah, it's a little project. The next 3 links are actually going to be those demos. Basically, it's a place where you can download those templates right there for portfolio sites, and you can basically fill out like a form about yourself, and it'll pre-fill any one of those templates. So you get like a subdomain. It would be like gary.devfolio.io. So that's pretty much the site. So yeah, awesome. He was begging me to throw this in here and we want to get your feedback.
I see what you did. You're just going to have me review all your projects.
There we go. This is how I get the world's top designer to review my stuff for free here.
That's hilarious. Definitely not the world's top designer, but anyhow, maybe the top YouTuber designer. I don't know. Even that, no, I doubt it. So looking at the rest of this, real quickly, I want to get out the DevTools again. I don't like the gray on this purplish lavender background. I'm just looking at the CSS real quick. Like, can I easily adjust this? Let's see. Yeah, background color. All right. So I might want to, a little trick that I do, if I can bring this over here to show you. We take the eyedropper, we get the same color that it's sitting on. So you could actually do that, but make the text like black or darker. But what we do is now that we're in this same hue in this range slider, we can do something like this. Like we can bring, instead of having a gray, which is like what it was like right around here. We can actually bring in the color that's in the background that it's sitting on. I'm thinking somewhere right around here, but now there's a contrast issue. So we want to take that color and we really want to make that much more contrast, like something like that. And I think that's a little bit better execution. If I refresh, we'll see what the original was. So take a snapshot of this in your mind. We'll refresh this. Yeah. Notice how it's way more washed out. So there's multiple approaches. That was just one of them. This right here, I would center this vertically. Like you have all this empty space here. You have this illustration here. Just get this it's centered up based on the available height in here. So like your professional grade templates, like that would start like right around here somewhere.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
I'm not too sure. I like this gray for the type. And of course, this is definitely way too low contrast here as well. So you can bump that up. Maybe just to make the colors and the, to create more contrast, I would make this black. Straight up black. But yeah, that's it for this. I really like the navigation. It's solid.
Sweet. Well, Shuvo's in the chat. He's he's excited. Someone give me a 6, or someone give him a 6. He's the one that made it. Come on. It's better than a 6. I mean, I would say 8.
Yeah,
8.
this is better than a 6.
I would say
I would put this up in upper 7s.
You killing me, Gary. So Shuvo's asking to review the template. Shuvo, we're only going to do one just because I want to make sure everyone gets their portfolios reviewed. If you want, Gary, you can click preview on the Richard Hendricks one. It's actually linked up in our links for all the sites, but you can actually click that directly from here. So what he did is use the Silicon Valley theme, the show.
Okay. Where am I clicking?
On the very right one, the dark theme one. So let's just do the one.
Just click preview.
Yeah, so you can download the template itself. So anybody that wants to use this template, if you like it, go to devfolio.io and download that. But yeah, so
nice.
This is the first template you can use.
Awesome.
I'm not sure why it doesn't
look solid.
Doesn't show reviews there for some reason.
But notice what I did here, by the way, to separate this gray background from the next section. I made this white, so that just helps separate your sections a little bit more. If I refresh this, you see the original. And I think it's just it helps separate them a little bit more. Anyhow, let's go on to the next one.
Cool.
All right, so somebody wants us to look at 3 different like 7, 8, 9. Are you seeing that in our document? I'm just going to do one of those, the personal portfolio.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I'll just remove the Tetris and the sorting algorithm.
All right. So remember what I said earlier about how many links in your primary navigation. There's 9 here? Yeah, there's 9 links here, and they're all styled the same. Like that's too much. Like you can have that many links, but they should be like designed differently from each other. Also, very uninspired headline. Like, hello, I'm blah blah blah. I'm a web developer. Try to get something more interesting happening here. You can mention you're a web developer, like you said here, but I think we could just do something a little bit more interesting with that headline. Probably push this over, especially on this 4K res that I'm looking at. It just seems like it's way off here to the side. Get it right around here in this area, and that will help fill out the design more. And then you can also with CSS position this image right here, this James Bond guy, and like maybe push him over here, and then make this stuff in a 2-column approach.
How do you feel about that kind of stuff? I'm not a big fan of just using something like that. Like if it's a stock photo, I mean, it looks cool, but I don't know.
If it's a part of his brand and he's gonna really stick with it, okay. So this doesn't make sense to me. This picture of him, he should be wearing a suit like this or something just to reinforce that idea. And it's blurred and it's pixelated, and it was taken like with an iPhone 1st generation or webcam or something like that. If you're gonna have a picture of yourself, which you don't have to do, by the way, on your portfolio, you don't necessarily have to have a picture of yourself. If you're going to have one, make sure it's good quality, invest a little bit, like go someplace, to actually get a good picture of yourself. These 2 sections don't really match up. This is, there are some issues, but it's pretty solid. But then we come down here and then we have this situation, and it's just, they're just not on the same level in terms of quality. Notice all this white space here. Notice how long this text is. Like this big, long, few sentences or sentence or whatever. It just spans way too far. So you want to condense things when you get to these larger breakpoints. It makes it much easier to read.
Yeah, that part's a little bit rough. This part looks nice though. A little bit too much, but I mean, there's quite a few cards here, but one way to increase what
what I call the visual hierarchy again is just to take this type and we'll do color. I'm going to say gray for now, but you might want to bump that up slightly more. And then that way you kind of separate the type just a little bit more from each other. Of course, when you have this hover thing, you'd have to change that to white as well. All right. So this is something I've talked about before. What's the problem here, Dennis?
Are you talking about the progress bars in general?
Yeah.
You're not a fan of them?
No, I'm not.
I was gonna say I'm not too opposed to the progress bars, but I just see redundancy here.
Right. Well, yeah. In terms of the aesthetics and the execution of it, I would say it is kind of much, and it's also old school because notice the gloss. That's early iPhone aesthetic right there. The problem with the progress bars, just from like the UX perspective, though, in my opinion, is that if somebody is looking for someone to like a JavaScript developer, for instance, or a C++ developer, they're going to see that that's the area that you're lacking in the most. And you're really you're really showing your weaknesses the most. And I don't want to say lie, but I would want to put them in this type of manner where you're just clearly showing your weaknesses.
Yeah,
you want to emphasize your benefits or your strengths as much as possible, and just don't even mention the other stuff. That's what I would do.
It kind of leaves you vulnerable. That's how I feel. Like you don't get a chance to explain that. It's better to kind of get into that meeting or use the portfolio to get that interview and then talk about that, as opposed to leaving it to a 30-second decision on your website.
Right. So notice how small that was before. So this is the original. That's little skills. Like we want to make this thing big because it's a headline, and then margin bottom that thing by like, I don't know, 7M units. No, that's way too much. 3M units, like something like that. If you're gonna have this little separate skill section, give yourself a lot of white space and make this thing bigger. Not where it was before, which is right here. Look how close that is. So it looks cluttered.
So Joe Santos Coding Phase is in the chat and he's saying make the container smaller. I'm assuming he's talking about the width of that. It's like it just goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are just like this is a fluid design, meaning if I scaled this all the way, it's going to keep going and going off to my other monitor. And really, there's a certain point in which you need to have a fixed container with margin 0 auto as a way to center it for your entire design, the left-right side of your design. And that's one way that you'd be able to improve areas like this for sure. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, so this is a good way to put it. Joe put in the portfolio is supposed to be a highlight of your strengths, not weaknesses. That's right. That's actually a good way to say it, because there's nothing wrong with rating yourself. Like I feel like if I put out Python, C#, HTML, and CSS, I feel like I could actually make a progress bar and judge where I feel like I'm at. But in that case, yeah, you're right. Like it's supposed to be a highlight reel. You wouldn't put the gaffes in a commercial.
You don't want to do this either, by the way. Like you want to make sure your aspect ratio is correct for all your images. This is actually a pretty decent area. I would take this contact me and put it right there on this column though. Maybe push it down a little bit, but this is actually probably the best section of design that I've seen here. Again, you could find that probably 12 to 1400 pixels. Once you get to that breakpoint in your CSS media query, just on the overall wrapper or whatever is wrapping around this entire thing, I just put width 1200 or width 1400 and then margin 0 auto, and it stays in the center.
Yeah.
All right.
For the overall rating, I'm going to say 6 in my opinion. I'm seeing a 5 come in from the chat.
It's I might do like a 5.8.
Yeah. A couple of fixes here too can make that a lot better.
Oh yeah. A lot most of the time, well, I could do it really fast, of course, because I can see exactly what it is. But technically, most of the sites that I see that are lacking are just they're small things. Technically speaking, yeah.
6.895. I wonder where the specifics came in there in the chat.
All right. Next up. All right. Again, I'm not going to keep on talking about the same issues. You want to have a little bit more inspired type here. You also, even though this is large type, it's still kind of hard to see, and you're also mixing and matching different colors here, white and black, and then there's just not much happening. Again, this is all fluid, so this is way off to the top over here to the right, which just kind of gets lost, and there's no logo. So issues there for sure. Cards here.
I mean, I like the projects displaying right away. That's pretty clean.
Right. Yeah, it's not bad.
The card can be fixed, like that line right there, or the bottom bar kind of throws me off with the dark.
Yeah, typically what you would do for something like this is maybe have an off-white background, and then you take the card backgrounds right here and make them white. And then because right here, what happens is when you have cards like this, and then you have like a content section underneath, like your thumbnail or something, where you have a title or a description or tags or whatever. When you have that in a high contrast background color based on the white it's sitting on, it makes things look too blocky. So a way to simplify that and not make it look so blocky is to take this. Let's see if we have it. Yep. We'll make this white. And then, of course, you would have to fix the text inside of it. Color, I don't know, black for now. So it's only going to update this one that I'm working on. And so now it just becomes a little bit better. I don't really like this hard shadow. If you're going to keep it, I would reduce the opacity of that. But now it doesn't appear so blocky the way it was before, like this, which it's still not bad. But you do have uneven white space from here beneath this type to the top. So, try to get everything aligned when it's supposed to be lined. Don't slightly offset things. Yeah, like this area, it needs a container. Like this whole, just like the last one, it should be brought in a lot closer. It's too large on a 4K monitor.
Yeah. Yeah,
this area needs the most work, though. It's just too bland, I would say.
That gradient kind of throws me off with the header bar, too.
Right, yeah. So for this one, I'm probably going to have to give this one a 5.7 or so.
Got it. So no one's hit above a 7 yet. Or we have a 7.1.
We have a 7.1, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want, Gary, I know we're at 45 minutes. I want to make sure to respect your time under an hour. We still have, about 15 we have about 18 projects in the list. And we have
good luck.
And we just had about 30 plus submitted. So let's just start hunting for the good ones. Let's just start rating them quick so you're not having to we repeat the same stuff.
All right.
Looking at
this actually isn't too bad. Little strange footer down here in navigation, but for what this is, pretty good typographic visual hierarchy. It's simple enough, although this seems way disconnected. I would probably bring these in, both of those in a container. But for what this is, there's also some alignment issues like this right here. It's like not aligned with this type, so that's kind of an issue. But for what this is, again, it's not that it's getting a lot of things right. The illustration's pretty solid. Colors are good, contrast good. I probably give this one probably just a straight up like 6.9.
So the designs are pretty clean. For the app itself, I'm going to start rating good projects, and I'll consider this one.
Okay.
It's a messaging application where you can send someone private messages. How does that work? You have to send them a link first, right? I mean, I can see this getting pretty nasty real quick if like you had an anonymous account, like people are brazen online already. Can you imagine if they have no
right?
No,
you got a typo there too.
Your friends.
All right. Let's keep on going. Yeah, these are Heroku app websites. They're not running too fast here.
Yeah, some of these are usually on the free tier. Coding Mafia. Let's see if this is.
All right, here we go. This one's loading now. All right, so major issue, lack of contrast right here in this entire section. See, on hover, that's what that should be by default. All right, because it gets lost. And there's also white space and topography issues, and also pretty bland just with, a straight up solid background like this. You could get away with that if your type was a lot larger, I would say.
So this right here, they have an API of data. Sorry, Gary, I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Figure out the project.
Coronavirus Nigeria cases.
So they're probably pulling public data and then making their own API?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
I mean, if it works, that's pretty cool.
We also have issues with alignment. You know, the width of this real small. Then this is a certain width from here to here, and then this is another width. Yeah, so it's inconsistent. It looks like it was made mainly for mobile, so we're not using our space as best we could. But for what this is, I'd probably have to rate this like a 5.9 or something.
5.9.
All right, Coding Mafia is up next. All right, we got the an interesting interpretation of the matrix code up here. Hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. This should be centered. I don't know why it's just slightly offset here and center text. So if it's centered text and it's one column, it should be centered, you know, right in the middle of your container, which in this case is the browser window. And also this isn't even, I don't understand. That's not even, what do you call, this is an image. That's what we used to do like back in the day, like 1999. We would like literally make some of our our text as a part of images and stuff because we were using slicing programs.
So what's the rule there? So if you're aligning to the left, you want to usually align the text to the left. If you're aligning to the right, usually that's to the right. Is that correct? That's kind of the issue here, is the fact that they're centering all the images and text, but yet the box
they're offset. Yeah, they're offset. This would look so much better, and it'd be just more pleasing, especially for people with OCD, if it was like right in the middle here. Coming off here, looking at the rest. Obviously, this is a work in progress with the lorem ipsum text. Not enough white space inside of these cards. Not good typographic visual hierarchy. Not enough white space like with this all post buttons. Real up against there. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen one of these. Particles.js. They used to be huge back in 2017 once when crypto was getting big. Everybody was using that. But yeah, so for this, again, it's going to be something like, you know, I give this like the same rating as the last time. I might give this one like a 6.0.
6.0.
Yep. Next up is this one. At least that one loaded fast. Not enough white space on this hero section. It's pretty up here, pretty close. A lot happening in these cards, I do have to say. Your buttons. So you have tags here, which are a certain size, but then these buttons are really large. It feels like they're out of place. And I would rethink this. You don't need the links caption here. Don't need that links. So get rid of that. We understand that these are buttons, so you don't have to tell us. Technologies even. Get rid of that. You're going to greatly simplify this area by just removing those two pieces of information.
I kind of like that timeline.
Yeah, the timeline was cool. It was an on-scroll activated sort of thing. So, yeah, you know, you got type issues here. Like this whole area is like a big, like this is slightly larger, and then we have different color text, and they're all centered up. So this area could definitely be, you could put this a 2-column approach for sure. Take this text, put it in left column, left align it, and then the contact info can go on the right along with this button. All this stuff could, and I would left align that on that column in that 2-column approach. So for what this is, yeah, like a 6.3. I mean, these are all pretty similar so far.
So Praveen just donated, so I had to put his portfolio on the top. Let's see. He's a backend developer, but I don't know if he used a template. Praveen, did you use a template? I don't know if he coded that out by himself. It loaded a little bit slow at first, and then okay, that was actually pretty fast.
Right. All right. So leaving a little bit empty here, not having like a logo, because the first column that's established is right here when you read from top to bottom. So there's a column here, then there's a column here, and then there's a column here. But you would really bring things full circle if you had a little like a logo or your name or something like that in the left portion. I like the background image. A lot of people will put like a high contrast photograph with their name on top and they can't see it. But so there's good contrast here, at least in the way this purple or this color has been applied to that photograph.
How about that progress bar? 100% on everything. I like it.
There you go. That's the only way I would advocate using those, is just to put 100% on everything. The contact with me, that almost looked like a button, but I guess it's not a button. Ooh, you don't want to do that yellow hover thing because then you get blinded almost. It almost loses vision of the or visibility of the icons. I would change that. This is pretty decent here. All right. So if you're gonna have like a blog or something, get at least three blog articles. It feels weird just having one. It shows us you might be a slacker or something like that. You only wrote one of those. I know writing sucks though. And then of course
that contact form.
Yeah, you're gonna have to increase the contrast on that because that's barely visible at all on these the borders. Good solid button right here, but I wouldn't make it gray when you hover over it. It almost makes it look like it's something you shouldn't click if it's gray. So you just keep it the same color right there and just make it a shade lighter or darker and just change it in a subtle manner. All right. So for this one, there's some good things happening, but I'm going to give this one like a 6.6.
Yeah, I would, besides the contact form, and I would ask him about those progress bars, but I would actually give this one probably like 7, from my opinion, for what it's worth.
Right, for sure. Okay. Next up, big issues. There's actually a navigation up here that says business, blog, and pricing, but it's so in such a tiny area, and the type is so small, you lose it. And there's also issues with alignment. Like we have the login button over here, and then we have the logo right here, and then look at this white space, not very much, and then we have a lot of white space over here, so it's not even centered correctly. And then we have a 2-column approach. This should really try to utilize the full space of your container that's been established by this button and this logo. It's just like a lot of empty white space, so it feels completely out of place. Again, those are small changes you can make that make big differences. So coming out here, pretty decent area. I would probably make this text white because you can't really see that black text all that well. You know, small things like this. If you're going to have a container, center this stuff vertically. It's just unnecessary white space, and it's just uneven. It's inconsistent. All right. So for this one, again, I can't give it a 7. Probably like a mid-6, like 6.5.
Nice. So, Gary, you mind if I pull one up? I had
Sure.
somebody share their project. So this is Arbaji, I believe. I forgot to. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. So he's got a YouTube channel. He does a lot of Django stuff too. So
Okay.
I had to log in to this project. It'd be kind of nice in that login screen if you had something. The design part, I'm going to say right now, is definitely not too good. I don't really like the colors. There's a lot, wrong with it. At least Gary, you can jump in there. You can probably say that. But the project looks a little bit unfinished. I see what you're going for. It's like a task management project. I know you're still in the learning process, but yeah, at least wanted to point the project out. So
yeah, one thing I will say, that if you go back to the other screen, you don't want to have a drop shadow like that. That's high contrast green. No, yeah, like or above it, like that big the one above it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to change that to what a shadow truly looks like. I mean, you can do colored shadows, but you have to do them correctly. But I would change that high contrast green shadow like that right there to just gray, very light gray.
In this form right here.
Yeah, because it takes too much attention away from the important stuff, which is the form elements.
Yeah. So it just looks like a task manager. I can add those.
Something more close to what it looks like when you're not hovering. But even that is quite a bit high contrast. I would even make it a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I mean, with all the other border or with all the other shadows right there, I think it's just a little bit too much.
Oh yeah, and they're inconsistent too. Yeah, because you have some gray ones and then you have green ones. You want to make them all the same, no matter what, for the most part. So
yeah.
All right. So I think we'll do maybe just a few more here.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're definitely not getting to all of these. We're going to try to speed through these, but I see everyone's submitting them now, but I keep getting them piled in here.
Oh, there we go. Here's a Figma prototype, so we'll check that out. And by the way, everybody, if you do want me to end up reviewing your design, I usually do this once a week. I sometimes once every 2 weeks, but just check out my channel. Go to my Discord server. I usually announce an hour before I go live on Fridays, usually Fridays or Saturdays.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gary, good plug. I want to add to that. I'm going to add the link in the video description. Make sure you go check out Gary's channel. Like you said, he's always reviewing this. So if we don't get to them today, Gary's always doing this. He has a full Discord where you can send him into. I know I totally just repeated what you said, but I want to say.
But anyhow, yeah, looking at this. So this is a Figma prototype, and sometimes Figma, like their prototype view, you'll get these strange black lines that show up like rows and columns, but that's actually not a part of the design. You may not even be able to see it, but there's black line going right there. Anyhow, outside of that, I actually like the colors. This is all pretty solid right here. They did a good job prototyping within Figma because we have nice hover states here. I'm not sure about that color like that, but I really like the type for the most part. Real solid. This seems washed out by making them just dark. I would make those either black or white. I'm not sure how that would contrast against this green. Coming down here, I have to say this is probably going to be the best design we've seen so far.
I think you have a little bit of bias towards it because it looks like designcourse.com.
You're right. Yeah, maybe.
I actually just pulled up your website.
Maybe I just really like the color scheme so much.
No, it's really good. It is.
Yeah, this is solid though. Yeah, for this, again, like this headline's a little bit too large in my opinion, but it's still, I mean, it's almost right there. I'm gonna give this one a. Yeah, I'm going to give this like a 7.8. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. All right, so we've been going over an hour. Let's just do one more. That's cool.
Yeah, of course, Gary. I want to make sure I didn't even notice the hour mark. I want to make sure to respect that. Thank you for your time, man. This is awesome.
No problem.
You're I wouldn't be able to say much more than I like the project or not. You're going into all the design principles. It's freaking amazing.
All right.
I know people are learning too.
Okay. So for this one, this color, the background is too saturated, I would say. I'm not sure if I'll be able to change it easily. There's a background image. Okay, yeah, here's the color. I would like to go a little bit more like this. I know it doesn't seem like a huge difference. I think right there. Let me copy this color code real quick and get out of there. So we're going from this. We're going from this to this, and notice how it's just too bright for me. It's just way too bright. Having a more muted one that's more toned, which is like introducing a gray into the color scheme, it just makes it a little bit more easier to look at. And so these gradients, these huge gradients with the gloss, it's a little bit too busy in my opinion for these headlines. Also, we lose a little bit of contrast there in this area because it's real bright teal, turquoise sort of color. So I would keep it darker overall so that it really stands out against and contrasts against the background. Outside of that, probably a little bit more structure between these two bits of type. It's just only slightly smaller and there's not much white space between them. Outside of that, I like this, the illustrations that you have here. They're very subtle and that's a great, I call it texture. It's a great way just to break up the boringness of a solid background color. This is pretty good here. This is all solid. Again, a little bit bright there. But yeah, for this one, let's refresh to see the original color. Notice how that's just too much. It's kind of almost hurts your eyes.
Did you save that hex? Did you send that anywhere? You didn't put that in the chat.
I have it. I can put it in the chat right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Alex.
Wait, how can I chat?
So you can.
I can't even chat.
You should be able to just send it there. There should be on the bottom.
It says log in to me. Like I guess I didn't log in properly.
Gotcha.
Here, I'll tell you what. I'll put it in.
Send it in Discord, and I can put it in the chat.
There you go. I just sent it. Awesome. All right. So now what we have to do is we have to choose the best design, and we have to choose the worst design.
Yep.
So I went ahead and saved all my ratings. So I already know what the worst is. Let me make sure.
While Gary's doing that, we probably got to 10% of the projects. Everyone's sending them in right now. If you still want your projects reviewed, what I'll do here is I'll send these over to Gary. What he wants, whatever he does with them, I'll leave that up to him. But at some point when he's doing his weekly streams and reviewing them, then you might have a chance to.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to go through this list and continue it again. They're all going to be lost and you have to start from scratch. And the way you do that though, is just join my Discord server.
There you go.
and assign yourself the stream ping role. And then that way I mention that stream ping in Discord an hour before I go live usually. And then people hurry up real quick and they start submitting their projects in a specific channel where I then review them as they come in sequentially.
All right. Well, and then in that case, what I'll probably do is just respond to everyone's email, and if we didn't get to them, I'll just I'll send them your YouTube link so that way they can do that, because I really want to make sure that everybody that really wants to get their stuff reviewed at least has a chance to send it to you at some point.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and announce the winner, the worst one. The design, I shouldn't. I know I would hate to be that person right now, but the person that I think could benefit the most from my designcourse.com, which is my UI UX learning platform that was just released last month. So again, they're going to receive a free access to this at designcourse.com. For everybody else, make sure you enter the test or the coupon launch and then you get 15% off. Again, just a comprehensive way to learn UI UX and learn how to do all the stuff that I do that I make look so easy right here. So the person that is going to win that is right here. They got the lowest rating of 5.7. So I'm not sure how you pronounce this person's name.
Theory,
something like that.
Yeah.
Theory, something like
sure.
that. Well, that's our theory. Anyhow, my dad jokes. So yeah, this person's going to get access to designcourse.com. And I guess we'll contact that person out. They have a contact section right here. So Twitter. Yeah, I'll hit that person up on Twitter. They'll have to give me their email and they'll get access to it for free. So who is the best one? What was the highest rated one? Who gets access to to $100?
Sounds like your Figma one, right? The one that that looked like Design Course, or you?
Yeah. I mean, that's the one that I rated the highest. So the person that won is whoever submitted this. So hopefully you've saved their name.
They're in the chat. I saw them. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. Awesome.
It's this person right here. So they said
this is this is real solid. Yeah. And does it look like Design Course? I think it does.
Color scheme. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, that person's smart. They just they took everything. They knew I would choose that as the winner. That's funny.
Played into it.
It's actually really similar colors.
And I hope they have a PayPal.
Honestly, outside of the color scheme, everything else is solid though.
Yeah.
It's the best one.
Yeah,
these could be white, I think. But yeah, some minor issues. It's not like a 10, but yeah, awesome. They're gonna be rich now.
Yeah,
depending on where they're from.
Yeah, I hope they have a PayPal. Yeah, I've had that before, and then I realized not everybody accepts PayPal. I've had workarounds with it, but it's a pain in the ass to send some people money.
Right,
it's not always fun. Cool. So awesome. Gary, you'll front that money? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Oh man.
Cool. Well, yeah, Gary, thank you for your time. What I'm going to do here is I'll be on for a couple more minutes. Make sure you're subscribed to Design Course, the YouTube channel. Check out designcourse.com. And I'm going to actually pull up DevFolio. So anybody that doesn't have time to code and just wants a quick portfolio project or a portfolio website, you can go to devfolio.io. I'll actually pull this up, and you can get yourself a quick project in a couple of minutes here. So let's choose one of the templates, fill out some information. Let's see, DevFolio, if I can spell that right. Fill out some information, choose a template, and you have a link right away, a live website. If you want to just download the template and customize it, you want to extend one of these, just go ahead and hit download. Once you're signed up, I'm already logged in. This will download it as a zip file, and the project is yours. So check out devfolio.io.
So how are you going to monetize this in the future?
So here's kind of the plan. Let me just go through it real quick. So you create an account here. We're just giving away free templates right now. You can download them, or you can just go ahead and create one and use it.
I hope you're getting emails for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So people have to register. So if you're not registered, you're going to have to create an account. When you click download, it's going to redirect you.
Okay.
So once you're in, you can create as many projects as you want. So I can create a new project. Let's say I'm going to say Dennis, 1, 2, 3, or I guess I can't do numbers. So we'll just do Dennis 1 like that. Your question was, how are we going to monetize this? The plan was basically to give out free projects, sell upsells, and then
Mhm.
have premium templates. So right now, I think the most popular template is going to be Richard Hendricks right here. So if I select the template, immediately I can see this template, so I can go to preview because I have some information already pre-filled out. My skills will be listed out here, my bio, contact information, all that will be automatically pre-filled. So if I want to edit this, I can go to edit website, and here we go. So I can update that, and that appears all in the template. The idea was to basically turn a LinkedIn account into a website. So some people have a LinkedIn account, they don't have time to,
Right.
use a website builder like Wix. Even like some people, even that's too advanced, or they just don't have time to manage it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're just thinking
Nice.
upsells and premium templates. We'll see. It's a fun
Nice.
project we've been working on. Sharir Shuvo deserves all the credit for this. He's worked his ass off putting this together.
You can also, I set up an affiliate program for designcourse.com, and then you can be like, hey, did you really want like a custom one? You want the skills to make a design a custom one? There you go. And then you can earn maybe like 15 or 20 bucks every sell.
Yeah, there
I'm
we
just
go.
kidding.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
but
serious.
anyhow.
That might work.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, everybody. All right. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you all soon.
Alrighty, awesome. Take care,
All right.
Gary.
See ya. Awkward silence. Gotta end
Oh,
the
I'll
stream.
remove you. I'm going to stay on for like 30 more seconds.
Oh,
I want to see
okay.
the chat
Awesome.
here. So,
All right. See you later.
yeah. All right, take care. Yeah, so just updated that name right here. This is where you can see the results. This is the Ehrlich Bachman template. So if I wanted to change this, let's actually select the Richard Hendricks one. Here we go. We see all my information. So yeah, check that out. Watching the chat here. Hope you guys all enjoyed that stream. That was a lot of fun with Gary. I actually need to take his course. I need to go to designcourse.com and actually follow that. As a full stack developer, primarily focusing on backend stuff, I definitely lack there, but those design principles are definitely useful to be able to just put into practice right away. So, all right, I'm just watching the chat. If anybody has any questions, I kind of miss doing these live streams. I can kind of catch up with everybody here. Go for like maybe 2 more minutes here. Praveen, I have not moved into my new home yet. There's some stuff going on with the sale of the house. We got that pushed back to the 18th probably. So I actually took down this entire setup and then had to reset it back up because I thought we were supposed to be in there by the 1st. So yeah, seeing some people taking the Django course and enjoying that. Really happy to hear that. I saw those chats while we were going on here with Gary. Didn't want to interrupt his conversation. And yeah, here, let me close out some links popping up here. Well, cool. Site link. Let me post that in here. That's devfolio.io. So dev as in developer. Go ahead and check that out. And Sharir Shuvo is the one working on all that. So he'll be telling me the stats. And if you have any issues with the site, we're going to have to put up a contact email there somewhere. So that way any bugs can be reported. We'll start stress testing this thing. We're still in alpha and beta testing mode right now. So there's a good chance that the site will break at some point. We'll just have to find all those bugs. So yeah, I just shared that. That's devfolio.io. Let me try to zoom in here. I guess that it's kind of hard to see, but that's how you would spell devfolio there. Cool. Yeah, so someone's asking if it's free. It's 100% free right now. There's going to be the free template. So these first 3 right here are free to use. We don't have any premium stuff yet, but once you sign up, you can just go ahead and fill out some information and you're ready to go. It's all free to use. And you'll have a subdomain, whatever your name is, and then at .devfolio.io. And here is the developer designer, Sharir Shuvo. He did all of this by himself. I gave him the concept idea. This guy is an insane developer. He did all the backend stuff. He actually used Node.js on the backend. We were trying to use Django at one point, but he's not a Django developer. So I decided to go with whatever my lead developer knows. So he kind of got the final say there. So it's all Node.js and then React on the front end. Cool. So, all right. Well, that's going to be it. Thank you all for joining. Again, make sure you're subscribed to Gary's channel. Hopefully going to be teaching some full stack or backend developers some design skills. So we'll see you all in another video or in another